like, say when you download games from Steam, about how fast does it go? Like, per second?
I go up to,
You get,
depending
like,
on
a
the time of
second?
day a little bit, but I can get to several, sometimes 7 to 9
Couple of
MBs per second.
megabytes.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, okay, so it's...
Couple of megabytes
it's
here in the UK.
Okay. I'm just wondering.
For me, when I'm downloading it, for me it performs just under on what I can download through other means. So it's pretty damn good in that regard.
I just keep my server connected to the UK server, the London one, because when I go to find online races, I can't find any in North America. So if I keep it on the UK, I can find races all day.
Strange.
It always does it by where you're, located. That's what it finds servers regionally, I should say.
Whew. Alright. Something else that SLI actually pointed out to me yesterday, which is actually a very good question, and he has experience with it in F1 2012, is controller versus the steering wheel.
Oh god.
I never gamed with a controller.
But I managed to do 2 seconds. Gained 2 seconds using the controller the other day at my friend's house.
But I wonder where the difference lies then. Is it just like accelerating and braking? Or everything with turning as well?
Yeah, what's the difference? What do you feel that's the difference?
I don't know, just cornering and acceleration, traction. I found easier with a controller than I did actually using the wheel. You got to put more work into it to actually keep the car on the track with the wheel. But with the controller, it seemed more easy, and I managed to do 2 seconds faster than the time that I could do with a wheel.
Wow,
that's a huge difference.
That makes me wonder if they have it coded differently if you're using a controller versus a wheel or something.
It kind of makes sense because
it's a little easier to get traction.
Yeah.
The major platforms are PS3 and Xbox, so they all come with controllers. So the game will be designed mostly for use with a controller, and then they modify the game to work on PC.
Right. Yeah, because
I think that's where the difference is.
Yeah, I reckon too. Because if I'm watching like Preyst race in the wet, he seems so more clinical and just more glued to the track than I do, and even though we have similar setups, and I often have so much issues just easing on the throttle. Even just gentle taps are sometimes enough just to lose my rear end.
Oh right.
And go flying.
Exactly.
Even if you just do saturation as well, you can do so many adjustments, but it's still exactly the same issues you've got using steering wheel pedals.
Well, I'm pretty comfortable with the settings I have. I actually have a 2% dead zone on the steering wheel and 20% saturation. And then some settings I customized in the profiler, Logitech profiler. And yeah, that's how far that seems to work best for me. Still don't feel as much.
I wish I could put a camera.
Car move.
I wish I could put a camera on my feet during the race. You should see how I have to feather the throttle the whole time.
I was thinking if I could find a way to do that as well here. Just like do a feet cam.
I've totally I've totally messed with so many different settings too, and I think I finally got a decent one, but still, man, you totally have to throttle it. And then I think also with a controller, the brakes don't lock up as easily or something.
Yeah, I did find that actually. I've got less front wheel lock with a controller than I do with the steering wheel.
So it's like they apply a little bit of traction control on the controller to compensate for the lack of range or something.
Exactly, that's what I'm thinking.
I don't hate you for it, Preyst. You're a really good driver.
Why don't you try it on a wheel? No,
yeah, it's actually funny because I went go-karting the other week, or a couple of weeks back, and as a Christmas party, absolutely demolished everyone, funny enough. So,
well,
people are like, Conrad,
I'm gonna ship you a wheel just to make you worse.
Please do, please do.
Put some sugar in the gearing system as well, some glue maybe.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Make it pop it every race. What the fuck?
Crikey! So the funny thing is, with my current settings on the actual gamepad, is apart from the steering dead zone, which is set at 5%, everything else is set to 0%. So every single movement, acceleration, throttle, breakage, everything is what I'm actually doing. There's no compensation or whatsoever, except for the 5% in steering, but that has no effect whatsoever, only under straights, which doesn't make the car weave left and right.
Right.
But otherwise, everything that I do on the gamepad is exactly what I do, movement for movement.
You know,
Seems pretty sensitive,
yeah.
You have to be
Yes,
extremely
very
careful.
Xbox.
That's something you need to learn to do.
Everything is set on 0%. Yeah.
That makes me want to try my Xbox controller for the PC just to try it.
Funny you should say,
I would never.
I've always been, ever since F1 2000 came out on PC by EA Sports, up until when they stopped making or producing those games, which was 2002 or 2004 with the F1 Challenge or whatever it was.
Yep.
When the rights were then brought over to Sony PlayStation, I was always using the joysticks. The keypad on my keyboard, and I was ridiculously fast on that as well. Because you just create this sense of knowing what you can do in terms of pushing, how much taps you need to do per specific corner and all that. But once I changed over to the gamepad, I've never looked back.
I think one of the first games I played for racing was...
It's funny though,
It was Grand Prix 3. I was still a pretty small boy and my brother played it, but I like Microprose,
yes.
And like, I was so bad at it, like at some point it just like turned all the modes for me and just like used other cars' brakes and we were just having good laughs. I was completely shit. So I didn't really stop playing racing games since the Codemasters series started coming up again.
Yeah.
My mate's got the whole thing set up as well with the whole racing seat with F1 2012, and I went around to his place.
Yeah.
And I found that I'm just as fast as well, which is kind of great. But I assume that when you're sitting in an upright position in front of a computer desk, it's completely different. It will be a lot harder than what you're actually seeing in a game racing seat.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I simply have a desk, so like I have to... sometimes I get a little, my feet start to hurt in it, especially when I have to brake really hard.
I'm gonna order one of those seats. I saw there's a few different awesome ones that are pretty expensive, but I really want to get like make a rig, you know. I think it'd be so much fun.
Well, if you buy a good one, I think it would last forever, probably, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, you could always just make repairs if we had to, but you know, I think even if I was a little bit faster with a controller over my wheel, I don't think I'd switch. Still.
No, I stay.
There's something
No,
just
I stay
about
with
the
the wheel.
experience for me that, yeah.
It's the immersion.
Wheel, I think. Yeah.
What was that?
Heard that.
That was the F1.
That was the F1 logo.
Yeah, the Formula 1 page.
That was a Ferrari V10 going by.
I can always skip it, but it will always make that fucking noise. It's always too little.
Oh, I know. I hate. Yeah, the skip. There's a skip always option though.
Yeah, which doesn't work for me apparently, because I skipped it and it still came in.
Oh, great.
Just looking to see if there were any funny new bits. The news is pretty quiet on the F1. Well, it is the off season.
Crash
still no
is a
track.
good site. Crash F1.
Still no track announced for round 10 as well.
Okay. I actually haven't read about that. I think they're still talking with Turkey or something about that.
Well, that was the last information that Bernie Eccleston was trying to talk Turkey into it, but there hasn't been any news since New Jersey popped out saying that they won't be ready for next year, or this year, should I say?
Yeah. Well, I think what the last I have read is that the Turkish government doesn't really want to pay for it, or at least not the amount that they're talking about.
Yeah, that is exactly. Yeah, it's the amount that they have to pay to hold the event.
Yeah, the government said they won't pay for it.
Something that I wouldn't mind actually seeing come back to the calendar, although I know it won't happen, is Magny Cours. That was definitely one of my favourite tracks.
Yeah.
I was just
it's a good track.
That.
There were talks there about Magny Cours as well.
However, if France does return to the calendar, it will be on the Paul Ricard test track. If it does go back to France, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
And another racetrack that I wouldn't mind seeing, although it's totally out of the question because it's a little too short for F1 these days, is the A1 ring in Austria.
Yeah,
it's actually called Red Bull Ring now. Yeah,
yes,
more Red Bull feces logos
yes.
everywhere.
It is a little. Well, I heard they do have a long version of it, but still, the long version doesn't look very interesting. It's a bunch of straights with some chicanes.
The Nürburgring ring, Northcliffe, that's what they want to bring back.
Yeah, I like Nürburgring a lot better than Hockenheim.
Yeah, I mean the long track though, Northcliffe.
Or the old Hockenheim.
Hockenheim's a bit of a go-kart track to me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it feels like.
Yeah, Hockenheim
cool,
is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Feels short.
I like Stadium.
Tight.
That's about it though.
Yeah.
I wish they would race on the real Nürburgring. Could you imagine that? It's so
yeah,
not
that would
safe,
be so
but,
good.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
In terms of lap times, it wouldn't be very much.
Like a 4-lap race, I would have thought.
And they go with the super soft. They have to pit after every.
To do? Like 20.
I don't know how long it is.
The cars would look a bit different though, because they'd have to compensate with really, really big or high ride heights.
Yeah. I don't think they would be going to half as fast because they wouldn't have the much grip on the track as seeing how high up they would be.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of areas where they would almost leave the track even with their downforce. You know, they come over and
I think a Formula 1 car would be fine now in those speeds. They would just pretty much be glued to it.
There is a YouTube video of what's his face driving on
Coulthard.
The Nürburgring. No, it's
I saw a video with Rosberg once in.
I think it's a Pirelli test driver.
Alguersuari?
Alguersuari or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
I think it might be him.
Alguersuari.
It's him or it's what's the other one I always get him confused with?
Buemi?
I can't remember. Yeah, it might be Buemi. I'd have to see. If there's one on YouTube of him driving an F1 car, I think it's like an 06 or 07.
Yeah, I've driven around it. You pay €10 and you can drive around it in any car you like.
It's Nick Heidfeld.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
That's a character.
That's the Pirelli test driver from now, I think.
Actually, Jaime is the test driver for Pirelli right now. Unless he finds a spot in one of the teams. Because I don't think... Which our teams haven't actually have 2 confirmed drives at the moment? I think Caterham at least still has one open, and Forcinia hasn't announced it yet.
Yeah. Yeah, Marusa has both of theirs.
Yeah. Because which was the one?
They've signed Max Chilton.
Yeah, Chilton.
There you go.
I was trying to think of the name.
He's coming from the British Tour. He's coming from the British Touring Championship.
Wasn't Chilton in the GP2?
Maybe he was, but I've also seen Chilton's surname in touring cars in Britain as well.
Alright, well I thought Chilton was listed in the GP2 that I know of.